Good morning. This morning we will read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 85, 620. The verse is on the board. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Naspesya Bhadrasya Nityam Bharata Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Suti He He Nanu Jagata Bhavan Najanam. Suti He He Nanu Jagata Bhavan Ajanam. Sanjanya it anuyogam niyadaramaguptyayi. Nanatano gaganavat vidadachyasi. Kovitabam na ogaya vibhutimayam. Stuti he nanu jagata bhavanachana. Sanjahyai tanujagam niyadaramaguptyayi. Nanatano gaganavat vidadatyahasi. Kovedabam na ogaya vibhutimayam. Shuti he nanusagada bhavan ajanam. Sanjahya itsanuyogam niyadaramaguptyayi. Nanatanu gaganavat vidadachyasi. Kovedabam na ogaya vibhutimayam. Shuddhe nanu jagata bhavanachana. Sanjahya itsanusugam niyadaramaguptyayi. Nanatanu gaganavat vidadachyasi. Kovedabam na ogaya vibhutimayam. Shutehe nanusharada bhavan ajana sanjaya itanusugam niyadharmagukyai nanatanu gaganagat vidadachyahasi Goveda Bomna Ogaya Vibhuti Mayam. Mataji, please. Shutihe Nanushagada Bhavanachana Sanjagna Atanugam Niyadharma Guptyai Dhanatano Gaganava Vidadachyahasi Goveda Bomna Ogaya Vibhuti Mayam. Shutehe Nananashagda Bhavanachana Sanjahyai Tanujram Niyadharmakuptyai Nanatanu Gaganavad Vidadachyahasi Oveda Bomna Ogaya Vibhuti Mayam. But for a translation, Sutihe. In the maternity room, Nanu, indeed, Shakada, Sat, Bhavan, you, Aja, the unborn Lord, now to us, Sanjahye, you have taken birth, Iti, thus, Anu Yugam, in one age after another, Nitya, your own, Dharma, the principles of religion, Goptyai, to protect, Nana, various, Tamu, divine bodies, Kakanavat, like a cloud, Vidadat, assuming, Chahasi, you make unmanifest, Kaha, oh, Veda, can understand, Bomna, of the all-pervading Supreme Lord. O Gaya, O you are greatly glorified, Vibhuti of the opulent expansions, Mayam, the mystic deluding potency. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Indeed, while still in the maternity room, you told us that you, the unborn Lord, had already been born several times as our son in previous ages. After manifesting each of these transcendental bodies to protect your own principles of religion, you then made them unmanifest, thus appearing and disappearing like a cloud. O supremely glorified, all-pervading Lord, who can understand the mystic, deluding potency of your opulent expansions? The purport. Lord Krishna was first born to Vasudeva and Devaki in the previous lives as Sutapa and Prishni. Later, they again became his parents as Kashyapa and Aditi. This then was the third time he had appeared as their son. There are commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. We will read them later. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Janansula Shaka Shakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Chit Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiro Shiyoda Padakamalam Shirom Vaishnavam Sha Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savrutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Chatpate Gopesha Gopkakanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sutadevi Pranamama Hripriye Vankha Kalpta Vishak Kripasnabhivsha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Radha Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskachai Dasatarani Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse mentions that Krishna appeared 3 times as their son. That first time as Sutapa and Prishni. In what incarnation did the Lord appear before Sutapa and Prishni? Who? Nobody knows? Yes, you are saying it. Say it loud.
I should know, but
okay.
It's embarrassing.
Prishni Garbha. Narayan form. Prishni Garbha. When Dhruva Maharaj attained perfection, then the Lord appeared before him also as Prishni Garbha, Narayan form. And then in the next incarnation, Kashyapa and Aditi. Who was incarnation? No, that was Vaman. Vamandev. The Lord Kapila was the son of Kardamamuni, devotee. Yeah. Was Vamandev, also called Upendra. And in the third incarnation, Krishna is not an incarnation. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. So this is described, it's mentioned here. Vasudeva is saying, you told us in the maternity room. We are in chapter 85 of the Bhagavatam, 10th canto. 10th canto, chapter 3. That's the birth of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada writes, to appear in the material world, the Lord selected his mother and father, namely Prishni and Sutapa, respectively. He must have a mother and a father, so he selected Prishni and Sutapa perpetually as his mother and father. That I found interesting. Prabhupada said perpetually. That means without stopping, right? And on account of this, neither Prishni nor Sutapa could ask the Lord for liberation. What do we learn from that? They did not ask for liberation. So what is more important than liberation? Please? Service. Yeah, that is what Srila Prabhupada writes. He says, liberation is not so important as the transcendental loving service to the Lord. The Lord could have awarded Prishni and Sutapa immediate liberation, but he preferred to keep them within this material world for service. So Prishni became pregnant and gave birth to the child. That is what happened in the 3rd chapter, when Krishna appeared as a son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So the Lord spoke to Devaki and Vasudeva. At that time, my name was Prishni Garbha. In the next millennium, you took birth as Aditi and Kashyap, and I became your child of the name Upendra. At that time, my form was just like a dwarf, and for this reason, I was known as Vamandev. I gave you the benediction that I would take birth as your son 3 times. I found that interesting, 3 times. That in Nasteva, 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 Gati Anyata. That 3 times. The Vedic way is to say you mean it, you must say 3 times. 3 times. So they wanted Krishna as their son. So Krishna meant it, yes, you can have it 3 times. 3 times. That the same was there with Jai and Vijay. They wanted to serve the Lord by giving him a good fight. And Lord Narayan said 3 times taking birth. They had the choice between 7 times or 3 times. And they also took 3 times birth. First as Ravan, Kumbhakarna. That was the first time. Of was the first time? Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravan, Kumbhakarna, and Sisupal in Dantavraka. 3 times also. Interesting. So why did he appear before them as Lord Narayan with his 4 arms? Interesting. Krishna says, I've appeared in this Vishnu form to convince you that I'm the same Supreme Personality of Godhead again taken birth. And I assure you that this time you shall go BTG, back to Godhead, on account of your perfection in your mission. Therefore, we should engage in the Lord's mission, right? 3 times engaging in 3 births, 3 times engaging in the Lord's mission. So what's the shortcut for going back to God? No. Prabhupada gave us the shortcut. What's the shortcut? engage in the mission and of course chant Hare Krishna. That's very important. To engage in the mission. And only chanting, okay, will bring you back to Godhead if you follow the four regulative principles. Prabhupada promised that if in Mayapur, New Mayapur, a lecture in New Mayapur, he said, I promise you, if you follow the four regulative principles and chant Hare Krishna, you will go back to Godhead. That this gives great hope. Prabhupada says in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam that Hiranyakashipu challenged Prahlad, where is your God? Is he in the pillar? And Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, he is in the pillar. and it is said in the purport, to make the words of his pure devotees to become true, then the Lord had to appear from the pillar. And he also kept all the promises that Brahma made to Hiranyakashipu intact. He respected it. It also became true. Because the words of the pure devotee becomes true. And that gives hope. There was a conversation between Allen Ginsberg and Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was telling about about Kali Yuga, and especially at the end of Kali Yuga, all these things that would happen, they are described in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam. Horrible things. And then after hearing that, Allen Ginsberg said, and what with your disciples? Will they still be around? Prabhupada replied, no. They will go back to Godhead in this life. Prabhupada said, so that gives also hope that we, by His mercy, we need the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. The mercy comes to the Guru Parampara. That it's so important to recognize that the mercy comes to Srila Prabhupada. And that I remember always this was 2018, I think. I was at the Bhaktivedanta Manor in London. And my Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charamaj was there. He was going to give initiation to graduate Bhakti Shastri students which were my students from in Leicester. And he asked me to speak to them. And he was just sitting beside me and he's asking, you speak to them. That's embarrassing, your spiritual master. And he said, you speak. So what do you do? I prayed for his blessings. Please give me your blessings that I can say something. What was his answer? He said, no. And he pointed to the deity of Prabhupada and said, that's where the blessings come from. So I had to pray to Prabhupada. But this is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad Gita, so many places. Susrusho Vastev Gataruchis Yanmatse Vyavipra Punya Tirtanishevana. I like this verse because this verse explains how we can get taste in devotional service. You have to do two things. Susrusho Shadadanasya. With great faith and attention, you hear about Krishna, the Bhagavatam. But then Syan Mat Sevya Vipra, on the other side, you must please the Mahatma. And that combination gives taste. So if we don't have taste, what's the problem? We may make offenses, that's another thing. But is that combination there? And that chanting and hearing and engaging in the mission of the spiritual master. And that combination gives taste. That means it comes to the mercy. And who is engaging us in his mission? Srila Prabhupada. All what we do is his mission. And if we do that, engage in his mission, and hear and chant at the same time, that combination gives taste. That's how the mercy comes. So that is the way to go back to God in this lifetime, if we are very serious. Usually that process of devotional service, Rupa Goswami says, takes many lifetimes. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, no, do it in one lifetime. Prabhupada said the same. Don't let me come back. Go back now. That means we have to please Srila Prabhupada. And then Krishna reciprocates. And liberation is not so important. It's mentioned here. Service is more important than liberation. Service is more important. Is also the opinion of Lord Chaitanya. Na janam, na danam, na sundarim kavta vashi kame mamacha mamishvari bhavati bhakta hait kitvahi. I don't want wealth, I don't want followers, I don't want beautiful women. I don't want liberation, he says. I only want your causeless devotional service. Only want to serve Krishna out of love and not asking for liberation. Liberation is a side effect. It's not so important. So then, in the Bhagavatam, 10.343 purport, there it is said, because of the intense love you developed by Krishna and Sutapa, the Lord appeared from Devaki and Vasudev in his full opulence as Sri Krishna. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not his partial expansion. That means that they got 3 lives, Sutapa, Krishna, and then Kashyap and Aditi, and then Vasudev and Devaki, 3 lives. But through these lives, they developed more and more intense love until they came to the point of appearing as Vasudeva and Devaki. And then their love was fully blossomed. And then Krishna became their son, which is the source of all incarnations. He appeared in his full opulences, whereas the other incarnations had the power of Krishna, but they had also the full powers, but they only manifested it for fulfilling their mission, not more. But now they get Krishna. That was the highest. So Lord Krishna fulfills the desires of his devotees. They wanted to have Krishna as their son. And they wanted to serve him in parental love. So Vasudeva is praying, yes. He's at Kurukshetra, and there all the sages are being praising Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Vasudeva in the beginning said to the sages, we are of the royal order, we are big householders, we are very fallen. Please instruct us, what is our duty? That was his question. And then the sages started to glorify Krishna and Balaram as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Vasudeva says to Krishna and Balaram, yes, we are thinking that you are our sons, but factually you are not our sons. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still we cannot stop thinking of you as our sons. So that's Krishna's internal energy. Because this parental love is of a higher order. It's not just dasya, of a higher order, because it's all transcendental. But it's more intense love than friendship. It's more intense love than servitorship. Serving the Supreme Lord as your son, there is naturally a lot of affection. That it's very intense love. So Krishna fulfilled their desires. They wanted that. So this means desires in our devotional service are very important. That Krishna fulfills the desires of his devotees. How they will want to serve him. And we see that in 8th canto, Bali Maharaj conquered the heavenly planets on the strength of Sukracharya, his spiritual master. He conquered. And because he wanted to serve Krishna by becoming Indra. To become Indra, because they conquered the heavenly planets. But then Sukracharya said to Bali Maharaj that you want to become the Indra here, you must become qualified. You must do 100 Ashvamedha Yagyas, and then you can occupy the post. So Bali Maharaj started to do this Ashvamedha Yagyas one after another. And of course, at number 100, Vamandev appeared to stop him, to cheat him. That's very interesting. But then Bali Maharaj was arrested by Vamandev. That's because Sukracharya told him, don't give him anything, because you will lose everything. Vishnu is coming to cheat you. So that cheating propensity is also in the Supreme Lord. To take everything, he came to cheat Bali Maharaj and to take everything away. Prabhupada also some he had this mood when an Indian gentleman, a big businessman, came to him and said, I'm full of anxiety. I have all these riches, I have all these companies that I've all these factories with thousands of people engaged, but I'm always full of anxiety. And Prabhupada said, no problem. Just give it to us. Give it to us. Give it all to us, and you will be peaceful. Of course, he didn't want to do that. Prabhupada said, yes, just give everything. And the man said, yeah, no, I cannot do it. But and he said to his secretary, take his address. And the man said, it's not needed, not needed. I will come to you again. Yeah, Prabhupada said, but we must also be able to contact you. Take his address. Anyway, that was Prabhupada. That was also sometimes in this mood. Also, the first Ratha Yatra in New York, Tamal Krishna Maharaj applied, because you have to apply by the police for that parade. And he told them, oh, it's only a little cart. It's not big, this chariot, very small. Will not be a big thing. But then when the parade was there, the boat had made 3 big carts. Anyway, so they took everything. Lord Swamindeva's mood. But Lord Krishna fulfills the desires, and then Vamandev arrested Bali Maharaj. He was bound by the ropes of Vasuki. He lost everything. So Vamandev gave the heavenly planets back to Indra. But then what did he do? He gave Bali Maharaj Sutal, which was a heavenly planet, which is a little lower, but it is a planet more opulent than heavenly planets, more opulent. So he got something better. And then it is predicted in the scriptures, in the next Manvantar, who will be the Indra? It will be Bali Maharaj. So his wishes will be fulfilled. He will serve as Indra in the next Manvantar. There's still to come. So it means we have to be very careful with what we desire in Krishna consciousness. We may delay our going back to Godhead, but anyway, we are engaged in service. But always be aware of our desires. Dhruva Maharaj also, he wanted to rule a kingdom greater than what his great-great-grandfather Brahma had. Brahma had as the entire universe. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya calls the universe Brahmananda. Anda means egg, the egg of Brahma. It's very humoristic if you look at it. But yes, Krishna consciousness means changing our desires. From the desire to exploit the material world, change it into desiring to please Krishna. That's the pure intention. Anya vilastasyunyam jnana kramatanavtam anukulena Krishna nusilanam bhakti uttama. Wanting to serve Krishna just without any material motive, just to please him. And it's with that inner attitude that Krishna reciprocates with us. So Krishna consciousness is about changing desires. We are the spirit soul. The spirit soul means consciousness. Consciousness comes from the spirit soul. And activity of the soul is becoming attached to something, desire. We have to change that attachment. We are attached to the lower energy, but we are the spiritual energy, the higher energy. We should come under control of the higher energy, not the lower energy. That's not normal. Therefore, we don't feel at ease in this material world. We are spiritual beings. We are eternal, full of bliss, but this body is just the opposite. We experience the opposite. We are at home in our natural environment of Satchitananda, the spiritual world. And there everyone is under control of the internal energy. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that at the end of the 15th chapter, Trisloka Gita, he says there are two kinds of living beings, the conditioned and the liberated. But then Krishna says in the next verse, I'm above the conditioned and liberated. So it means even if we are liberated in the spiritual world, we are also conditioned, but by the spiritual energy, which gives us much more freedom. We are always under Krishna's energy. But we can choose with our desire to connect with the spiritual energy or with the material energy every moment. And that's with our desire. We can desire to serve Krishna and please him, or we can desire to serve our own senses and become implicated in this material world and lose our freedom. So to come out of it, one must follow the principles of freedom. So many times non-devotees say, oh, this Hare Krishna, poor people. So many restrictions, they are not free, cannot have free sex, cannot drink, take intoxication, no eat meat, fish. These are the pleasures of life. So many restrictions. They are not free. But to become free from the material entanglement, one must follow the four regulative principles. What happens if you don't follow these four regulative principles? What happens?
You become entangled.
You become entangled. You are forced.
You suffer.
You suffer.
Live like an animal.
You are an animal, yeah. You identify with the body. You identify with the mind. And the mind will tell you what to do. That spiritual power, following these four relative principles, and chanting and performing spiritual activities. Spiritual activities are what are spiritual activities? Spiritual activities means that the object of our attention or meditation is spiritual. Material means engaging ourselves with material objects, and spiritual means connecting with Krishna. Our consciousness connected with Krishna. How can we connect our consciousness with Krishna? What are the spiritual objects we meditate on? What are the spiritual objects we meditate on?
By hearing about the Krishna.
Hearing about Krishna.
Krishna.
Please.
Just remembering.
Manmana. Think of Krishna.
Feel it.
Good. That's one. And more spiritual objects? The deity. Worshipping the deity. More? Hearing the Bhagavatam. Hearing the holy name. Please. Please. Going to the holy places, living in a holy place, holy dham, in a temple. Sadhu Sangam. What about Prasadam? Prasadam is also so this connects us all with Krishna, Manmana. And when you have Krishna in the mind, what's going to happen? Well, not sure about it, but what's going to happen if you have Krishna in the mind? Krishna say Manmana, and then Bhava Bhakto. Then you become his devotee. Majai. You are worshipping him. Namam Namaskar, you offer him respects. And but if you have Krishna in the mind, what happens with the mind? It's purified from lust, anger, greed, and so on. It's purified. And that is antiseptic. It's in Shir Upanishad. Krishna in the mind, Krishna is antiseptic and is prophylactic. What does prophylactic mean? Medical terms, yeah. We have the COVID vaccine. Forget about it. But Krishna acts like a vaccine. Means when you think of Krishna, you cannot think of any other nonsense. You are protected against lust, anger, greed, all these things. Because those who are non-devotees, their mind forces them to act according to their lust, anger, and greed. And very strong. They have to follow. They are not free. Only the devotees are free. The devotees can say to the mind, no. Non-devotees, very difficult to control the mind. It's the only way to control the mind is devotion to Krishna. Otherwise, you become the slave of the mind. So they say these Hare Krishnas are not free, but they are the slaves of the mind and the body. So therefore, our desires are very important. Because that desire to connect with Krishna, that desire will grow. That the price to pay to go back to Godhead is laulyam, is desire, intense desire to go. The intense desire that when I was a child, I was a toddler, and I was the fifth child of six. A big family. My father, he was a decorator. He had a shop at home. Very, very busy. And so they left me at school after the class till 6 o'clock in the evening. And I saw all the other parents coming, taking their child. And I was always the last one. The last one. And I was always crying, crying. I remember. So that was my early lifetime. Always crying. That when are they going to come? Always the last one. That in that way we should cry to go back to Godhead. I want to go back to Godhead. This laulian and this desire is very important. But here, in this verse, and that's also the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this verse, he says, yes, that you take a certain form, a transcendental form, and then give it up, and then you take another. So you come and go. The gopis have also that problem. They point also out that Krishna is like a bumblebee. A bumblebee, it sits. The gopi said, it sits in on one flower to pull out the nectar, and then leaves the flower and goes to the next. So it comes and goes. That, of course, the gopis, they are feeling great separation from Krishna, who left them when he left to Mathura. So, because when Krishna left, Akura came to get him, to bring him to Mathura. And the gopis were very distraught. After Krishna left, they came together and said, he left us. And one gopi said, yes, it's like a bumblebee sitting on one flower, then go to the next. Now is with this. Now is the attention of the damsels of Mathura. So he left us. Another gopi said, yes, he left us. So why are we still speaking about him? He left us. Another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. Another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. How he so sweetly smiled. Another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. How beautiful he is. And then another gopi said, yes, let's forget him, how he danced so sweetly with us. So it went on like that. They could not stop speaking about Krishna. Their mind was so attached to Krishna. They could not deviate their minds for a moment from Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says. And that's the point we have to come to. That not for a moment we can deviate our minds from Krishna. And but to come to that stage, to becoming attracted to Krishna, begins with hearing about Krishna and developing and hearing transcendental knowledge and become humble, humility. And we see Vasudev here. He is displaying his humility, and that is saying, yes, you are sons, but we think we are sons, but we are not qualified to be your parents. that it's just your mercy. And therefore they are speaking this verse here, how Krishna reciprocates with them. And that is beautiful. This shows spiritual life is not static. it's ecstatic. That spiritual life means that Krishna reciprocates with our desires. And if we have the proper desire, Krishna reciprocates with us. I remember always when Kadambakana Maharaj spoke to the sannyas candidates, he said, sannyas means living in a constant relationship with Krishna. So but it starts with humility. If we don't develop this humility, we will be able to feel Krishna's presence. But humility means give up our position as trying to exploit the material world. That's not humble. The material world is not ours, it's Krishna's. And we think in ein mind. I'm the enjoyer, and this is mine. But everything belongs to Krishna, because everything belongs to Krishna is his enjoyment. It's for his enjoyment, because he's the proprietor of everything. Bhaktam Chakravata Sarvalok Maiswadam Suridam Sarvabhutam Yatvamamsi Santim Richati. So that's not humble. Humility starts with knowledge. Knowledge that we are factually insignificant. That Vasudeva has this knowledge that, You can read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment on this verse. I am the Supreme Lord, and I became your son. So how can this be entanglement of repeated birth for you? That's interesting. In the maternity room, you told us, so have appeared from the pair of you two repeated as Sutapa in Prishni, as Kashyapa in Aditi, and now as Vasudeva and Devaki. So creating all those bodies for us, you become our son. So he's saying, you take all these forms, give them up, just to become our son. But being unattached like the sky, you give us up. You do not stop being born. So he's the unborn, but it takes birth. Therefore, who can understand the powers of the Supreme Lord? They are the comments of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Thank you very much. Any question or comments? Yes, please. Yeah. I will repeat your question.
Yeah. You mentioned in the beginning, and you said it's interesting that it's perpetual, and then it's 3 times good, but 3 times not perpetual. So how does it relate?
Yeah, that's a very esoteric question.
Yes.
Yeah, so Krishna says perpetually, and it are 3 births, and then they go back to Godhead, so it seems limited. But I'm going to give you the answer, but it takes a while because it's story. And that's not my answer, it's coming from our previous acharyas. So who is Devaki and Sutapa? I told that already last lecture. So I answered this question already last time, but I will repeat it again. That Krishna, he has one father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda. So Prabhupada said the post is already taken. He has his own father and mother eternally. coming from Goloka Vrindavan. But Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, they have their expansions. And Vasudev and Devaki are his Vaikuntha expansions. He is the father and mother of Krishna in Vaikuntha, which is an expansion of Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. And they are in the Vaikuntha mode because Krishna appeared in the prison in his Narayan form, that's Vaikuntha. Although Krishna is the origin of Narayan, but he appeared in that form. Now our Acharya says, and there it's going to conflict in our intelligence, that we cannot understand this factually. He says that, our Acharya says that Devaki and Krishna are these Vaikuntha expansions. They come from Vaikuntha. So by that we can understand this is also eternal, perpetual. But at the same time, you have Prishni and Sutapa who are performing, austerities to get Krishna as their son. So they are sadhakas. They are sadhakas. That they get perfection by performing their sadhana. Our Acharya says Devaki and Vasudev are merged. A part of them is from Vaikuntha, the other part is the sadhaka. They are merged together. And that explains it. But still we cannot understand this. But that is the explanation. They are two in one. The Vaikuntha expansions and the sadhaka. So the Vaikuntha expansions, they come, that's eternal. Krishna's performed his pastime in every universe, and Arjuna is going with them. This is eternal associate, and others also. All this pastime, when Krishna appears, Bhujan Prabhu, when we came out, the 10th counter of these pastimes, he said, Krishna's, when we came out the pastime of the withdrawal of the Yadu dynasty at Prabhas, so they killed each other being drunken. That's a whole story. But Bhujan Prabhu said, Krishna's pastime is like a roadshow. It's going from one city to another. So one city is finished. All the actors take off their costumes, and then one had a bad role, the other has played a good role. But then after that, they are just friends. And they are going to the next city to perform the same show. So at the end of Krishna's pastimes, they all leave their roles and they go with Krishna to the next universe to perform the drama again. A little different every time, but they are eternal associates with Krishna who travel with them. And these are Krishna's inconceivable pastimes. So he says perpetual. There he will also have a father and a mother. That in his pastimes, that Nanda Maharaj will also be there, Yasoda, Vrindavan will come. That there will be also Vrindavan. And also, Devaki and Vasudeva will come from Vaikuntha. That combined with other sadhakas maybe, we don't know. But this is Krishna's inconceivable pastimes. That does that help a bit? Not much. but these are the explanations of our acharyas. Yeah, it's not for me. You can read about this in Shivaram's book about the about Mother Yasoda. He mentions all these pastimes there, all these commentaries of these acharyas. Yeah. Thank you very much. Shantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki